The Home Tech Podcast is supported by you. To find out more, go to HomeTech.fm/support.
This is the Home Tech Podcast for Friday, April 5th from Denver, Colorado. I'm Jason Griffin.
And from Sarasota, Florida, I'm Seth Johnson. Jason, how's your April Fool's? How was your April Fool's Monday?
It was good. I don't think I got fooled. Not even once.
Yeah. No.
It almost always happens to me.
Yeah. They were older and wiser now, so we can spot these pranks as they're being played. I don't know.
But on a serious note, did you get your tickets to the Wire Festival yet?
Yeah, I've got the $30,000. Is there $30,000 package?
Yeah, I went for the $250,000 myself.
Oh, okay. Great. Oh, geez, this is too funny. It's the guys over behind Josh.ai, and they're kind of becoming known for this, right? I think this is like the third or fourth year in a row they're swinging for the fences here. They put together a video and everything, and there's some good stuff here. They had an entire lineup of like the hologram. Let's see, there's Jeff Bezos. These are people who are going to be talking at this a celebration of what's just beyond the horizon, an imagination of the future brought to life for one night only. So all these people are going to be talking one night only. Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Steve Jobs in hologram form, Oprah, Tim Apple, which I thought was great.
Tim Apple.
The cast of Silicon Valley and Bill Gates. The list just goes on and on and on. Emily Ratajkowski. and that's great.
None of the Kardashians at the end.
Oh, that's great. Oh, the Tupac hologram is going to be there. I'm going to have to go. I definitely have to go to this now.
Yeah, but a lot of fun. Go check this out if you missed it. Again, the guys over at josh.ai always have a lot of fun with April Fool's Day, and they definitely hit a home run this year. It reminds me of the two documentaries, if you haven't checked those out, about the actual Fyre Fest, which of course this is a reference to. Have you seen those, Seth?
I watched
won't spend a lot of time on them.
Yeah. I watched the Netflix and I watched the Hulu one. Yeah, one of them's better than the other, and I can't remember which one it is.
Yeah,
but they both,
anyways,
basically the same thing.
Good stuff here, and again, go check that out. josh.ai /wire, spelled with a Y.
Why?
If you're curious. Nice job, guys, on that one. Also, Roku introducing a pet-friendly streaming remote, according to CE Pro.
This one's cute.
This one's got some good bells and whistles here. I'm pulling up the story. Animal-themed shortcut buttons, bark assistant technology, built-in subwoofer. Yeah. The press pause remote, PAWS. So anyways, lots of fun. April Fools. What do you say we jump into some home tech headlines?
Let's do it. Google made a big goof this week when it accidentally leaked the existence of a new Nest product in the Google Store. In the image, captured before it was taken down by Android police, you can see Google touting the benefits of the new Nest Hub Max, as it's called. According to additional marketing images, it seems like the device is a 10-inch HD display, has a built-in Nest camera, and stereo speakers.
Yeah, interesting. Looks like there's no information on whether this is a product in development, which is obviously seems likely, when it's going to be unveiled or pricing or anything like that. But makes a lot of sense. These smart displays are definitely becoming more popular. So will be interesting to see a new product from Nest. We've been kind of waiting to see what they're going to do since they rolled back in under Google. So we'll be keeping an eye out for that. Resideo Technologies has acquired Buoy Labs, the provider of a Wi-Fi-enabled smart home solution that tracks the amount of water used in a home. The acquisition was for undisclosed terms. The Buoy Labs solution integrates smart software and hardware that can identify potential leaks and intervene to prevent them through its subscription-based app services, according to the announcement. The acquisition is Resideo's first since it became a standalone, publicly traded company following its spinoff from Honeywell last year.
Cool. I don't think I've ever heard of them, so good for them. Hopefully we'll see something.
Yeah, I came across them when I was researching, ended up getting Flow, but similar, hire a plumber, install it on your water main type of device.
Very cool. YouTube TV announced by Twitter that the service is now available in every U.S. TV market after it arrived in Glendive, Montana. Yay. The last market where YouTube needed to finish the rollout.
Wow, that's quite the claim to fame.
No, Glendive. As you drive in, now it's YouTube TV.
Yeah, exactly. That's funny.
I'm going to make that as our show art. Glendive, Montana. In a tweet, YouTube said, Glendive, Montana, we couldn't have done it without you. We can now officially say that YouTube TV is available in every television market in the U.S. Welcome to the family. The internet-based TV service may still be missing a few local channels in your market, so make sure to check with the YouTube TV website before you subscribe.
All right.
Still pretty cool. That's
big week in Glendive.
It's a huge week in Glendive.
Biggest news to hit Glendive in a long time, I'm guessing. I shouldn't say that. I know nothing about Glendive, Montana. Could be a great place.
They got fishing up there, from what I hear.
Well, that is like the mecca for fly fishing, so, you know.
It's the county seat of Dawson County, Montana, United States, and the home of Dawson Community College.
All right. Well, there's your geography lesson for the week.
We could have put the Wikipedia entry, and this city looks exactly like you would think it looks. It looks.
Just close your eyes and picture Glendive, Montana, and that's what it looks like.
And the one probably flashing red light, stoplight in the middle.
Oh, that's funny. All right. Well, Fubo TV has quietly raised the price on its base streaming TV service from $45 to $55 per month, a 22% increase, making it the latest in a succession of price hikes by over-the-top live TV streaming services. In a statement, Fubo TV defended the price increase, which so far only applies to new subscribers, by pointing out that it has added many new features and channels to its service. Quote, with the addition of popular channels over the past year, including AMC, Cartoon Network, CNN, TBS, TNT, and others soon to come. I won't read all of these here. Plus dozens of other national and regional channels, Fubo TV is repricing its base subscription package to $55. So really interesting. I know Fubo is one that I think I've heard is good for like sports people who want to do over the top and are sports fans, I believe. So that might explain part of the higher price tag. Sports is obviously one of the more expensive things for these companies to get licensing to. But yeah, at $55 a month, plus you add your your internet bill to that, you're starting to get up there towards more of what a quote unquote traditional cable bill would look like.
Yeah, that's FUBAR.
Nice one. You had that one just teed up. I know you did.
Yep. Only 5-ish months after HD Homerun launched its $35 per month premium TV service, the company has emailed its customers to announce it's shutting it down. The email informed subscribers that the short-lived service would work until the end of the customer's dated the plan, and would not be renewed, and could not be renewed. The email doesn't get into why the offering is so suddenly going away, but the fact that major Hollywood studios have sued its provider, Omniverse TV, claiming the company doesn't have rights to redistribute their programming, might be one reason.
That might have something to do with it.
A little bit of getting cut off there at the spigot may have something to do with it. Yeah.
Might throw a little bit of a wrench in your plans. Somebody forgot to check a box.
Yeah, I looked back into that. The story has a link back. It's Engadget story, and they linked back to like the Hollywood studios that are suing them. And it's not, people you probably wouldn't know the name of, like Disney, Fox, Paramount, Sony, Universal, and Warner Brothers have all filed in federal court suing this company. So I imagine they're not long for this world if there's any claims, fruit to their claims here. The Omniverse did respond to the story and said they had received permission to do this, but the studios are saying otherwise. So it will be interesting to see kind of how this plays out. This all kind of goes back just to the beginning of the year here, so it's all in play. It feels like the Wild West, like we're Fubo's raising to $55. These guys are at $35 and turning off the switch, and it's still
cutting off the spigot.
and then YouTube is that getting into Glendive. So it's like
all kinds of big news here.
Yeah.
Streaming this week.
Yep.
All right, well, shifting gears, Iris by Lowe's is open sourcing portion of its smart home software and naming it Arcus. Arcus is the Roman name for the Greek goddess Iris. Interesting. Iris wants the smart home enthusiast and developer communities to be able to benefit from the hard work and development of its platform software. The software will now be part of the public domain and available for the community. And the story goes on to say that the release will include public source code repositories, source code for the core platform projects, as well as user-facing clients, so iOS, Android, and web, as well as documentation support to help aid members of the community on how to set up Arcus in their preferred cloud solution or locally on a user machine. So good to see. I think welcome news for former Iris owners, although many of them are probably not, the types that'll necessarily roll up their sleeves and get involved with an open source project if they were setting out to find something easy and DIY. But at least it gives folks an avenue to do something with that hardware.
Yeah, and I'm genuinely curious to see where this goes, and how much the DIY crowd kind of takes onto this, because from all indications, everybody I talked to that was kind of a user, like an end user basically, who was going down to Lowe's Iris and buying these things, they liked this the platform. So it's not evidently not a bad platform. It's just, the business model didn't quite work out for them. So I really do wonder how this is going to, how many people are going to get involved with this and start, doing something with the platform here. Cause it's not, I'm looking on GitHub now, which is kind of like the programmer's repository, and like, this thing only has 25 stars at this point in time. I'm going to head and start myself, so now it's got 26. But 25 stars, if you go to like something that people actually do use, like maybe Node.js or I don't know, something like some bigger repository, and there's millions of stars on those things. So like for it to only have 25 is kind of like something I would do. But it's still early on, and it's written in Java too, which is kind of like. It's a very common language, but it's not like the new hot sexy thing people want to kind of dive into. And so I don't know how much further it's going to go beyond this. It's nice that they did this, and maybe good for reference for other people doing something, but I don't know. Time will only tell how far this is going to go in the community.
Right. There was another story, too, though, that we had in here. Habitat. Looks like they're going to be... So owners of Iris smart home devices from Lowe's can be saved by Habitat. Reads the headline. Habitat announced it would support Iris devices, including contact sensors, motion sensors, plug-in outlet, key fobs, and other connective gizmos. Great use of the word there. Through its recently released Habitat Elevation home automation hub. So I guess late adopters, if I'm reading this story correctly, late adopters, so folks who had later generations of Iris were, I think, already able to use their devices with Habitat. Those who had first-gen Iris devices were not. That is, quote, until Habitat started tinkering with the devices and the back end of the Habitat Elevation software. In a release, the company says that after just 2 weeks, it has developed a working prototype and even showed a proof of concept on a YouTube video. So a couple of different options here, actually, for former Lowe's Iris users.
Very nice. I'm glad to see. I mean, we've seen this happen before, you and I, like where a business goes out. I'm thinking like Colorado VNet, and like how many of those homes are out there?
Oh, man. Yeah.
Chugging along and waiting for that day that they're going to have to pay a few $100,000 to.
The moment of reckoning.
Yeah, it's coming. But yeah, I'm glad to see that there's at least some effort, both by the company and by other companies trying to like help out and pick these customers up, because it's pretty nice.
Yeah,
pretty nice to see.
Absolutely.
Well, one thing that came out today, I saw this kind of float across the news feeds, and then I saw some people talking about it in the hub. We get this question all the time, Jason. Where do I start my smart home.
Yep.
We're like, I like the show. I like what you guys are talking about. I don't know where to start. There's so many options. And I think we've tried or attempted to answer this a couple times. If you go way back to listen, like maybe episode 1, I think we tried to answer this.
That's right. Back to the archives.
Yeah. But if you kind of want to take a look at something that was written today or this week, the New York Times actually had a really good story, The Easy Way to Create a Smart Home. And they walk through, I think, in probably one of the best orders that I've seen. Like, the first thing is like start with Wi-Fi or check your Wi-Fi. Make sure you're using good Wi-Fi systems, like these mesh Wi-Fi systems. And then they give examples of which ones to use. And then they say start with one thing, like start with one piece that you find value in, like a single smart plug, or just a smoke alarm, or even a thermostat. Like start with one thing. Don't try and dive in deep, and have that create some value for you. I think that's actually a really good piece of advice that I think you and I probably missed, is like finding that one little thing that just you can get creative with, and then you're like, oh, I can automate this lamp at night. I have 2 lamps. Maybe I should get 2 of these things, and then try to do that, and just kind of like build out your system from there.
Well, and what's really cool is that you can do that now, right? Like I was at a birthday party a couple of weeks ago, and was talking to somebody who I have only met once or twice, and he knows that I work in the smart home industry. And so, he asked about it. We started talking about it, and that exact sort of conversation came up, right? It was like, and what I was saying is what's really cool now is that you can start to get into it with just sort of point solutions. And maybe 5 years ago, you could start to do that, but certainly 10 years ago, like that was much, much more difficult to do. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a great way for, people who are just sort of getting into it to think about it, because it's like, instead of being overwhelmed by all of the different options out there, you can instead take a look at your home and figure out what's the actual use case. Like, do I need an easy way to make my lights turn on and off and make it appear like I'm home when I'm traveling, without, the little lamp timers you buy at Home Depot or whatever? Like, do you want a better way to do that, or to set scenes or whatever it is? And then you go out and you start piecing the stuff together, one piece at a time. And eventually, if you want to make it all sort of orchestrate together, to use, Martin Pleen from Control 4 is a word he uses a lot. I think it's a good one. If you want to start orchestrating that stuff into a singular app to have more control instead of jumping from app to app, for the most part, you can do that later with a little bit of foresight, a little bit of planning. You can add that functionality later.
Yeah. One of the nicest things, and I'm so guilty of this, because like I have the whole house set up with lighting control. There's only a couple rooms that don't have lighting in them. We don't go in them. So like, but I keep forgetting, like I can say, Siri, good night. And it shuts off all the lights in the house, other than like the master suite. Like and I always forget that I have that done until like, oh yeah, I got to turn the lights off. I'm like, oh yeah, I can yell at my phone or my watch or, into the air, and it'll actually do it. Which is kind of nice.
Yep. Yeah. It reminds me of my, I have a little smart plug in my daughter's room, and she's got a lamp in there. And so she has seen me multiple times say, hey Siri, turn off Riley's lamp. And so now it's like a fun game. Like the kids are like, we want to do it. So I hold the phone up and I count to 3, and then we all yell at the phone to turn off Riley's lamp. And lo and behold, it works most of the time. And so it's fun. Just, you get that sort of functionality. Like that's a very useful thing. I use it every night. And side note, it's also interesting to think about like our kids growing up, just where that's the norm. Like you can say a word and have a lamp turn on or off. And what things are going to look like when they're adults, but that's a whole obviously different conversation. Point being, like that was a very specific use case. Like when I put my daughter to bed, she likes to have the light on for a little while before we turn it off, and we'll read a book. And then when she's ready to close her eyes, like, it sounds so lazy to say it out loud, but I don't have to get up and go walk over and turn the lamp off. I just grab my phone and we say, hey Siri, turn off the lamp, and we're done, right? And her room is smart like that. So it's, it's cool. It's just stuff we didn't have not very long ago.
No, it works better. Most of the time it works better than you think.
Definitely. But, coming back to the article, it does talk about virtual assistants, of course. Really well-researched article. They've got a lot of architects in here who they've interviewed for the piece, which I found a little surprising. Most of the architects that I dealt with as an integrator pretty much all hated technology, but I guess they probably, forgive me for painting with hugely broad strokes here, but probably many architects probably like what's happening, because I know a lot of the issues that architects had with technology was like just the heavy sort of infrastructure that had to be planned and thought about. And like these sort of lighter weight wireless devices are, I'm sure, very appealing to them. Although, of course, we all know they come with their own sort of sets of drawbacks. So it's all pros and cons. But to your point, like the piece is very well researched. It's well laid out. One of the parts that I liked was when they talked about the difference between smart light bulbs and smart dimmers in the wall. I think that's a part of the conversation that is very easy to miss for people who are just getting into this sort of thing. And you know what this article makes me think of? Like, perfect person for this article would be my dad. Like, I often, and probably listeners can relate, I'm sure, like being the tech guy in the family, I will frequently get inquiries from my parents or family friends or people who are like, hey, like, I'm hearing more and more about the smart home. Like, what can I do? What should I do? Right. And this would be a great article to just bookmark and send it to people when they ask you, because it really is a good sort of like starter guide. Right.
And it comes from the New York Times, which is not like two guys talking in two guys on a podcast talking in 2014. Yeah. Like, you could go back and listen to that, but this is the New York Times
right.
we're talking about.
Right. So anyways, it's a good read. I think for anyone, just go check it out. And, just kind of the way, again, they have it laid out and sort of walk you through the different categories and options. And I think it's a nice piece. We'll definitely include it in the show notes.
All the links and topics we've discussed tonight can be found on our show notes at HomeTech.fm/252. 252. Wow. While you're there, don't forget to sign up for the weekly newsletter, which includes even further analysis as well as other industry news that may not have made the show. Again, the link is HomeTech.fm/252.
Cool. Don't forget, you can also join us in the chat room live, typically on Wednesday evenings around 7 or 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We do try to hold to that. We are recording a day early this week, so we got a couple of folks hanging out in the chat room with us tonight. We appreciate that. But again, our typical recording time is on Wednesdays around 7 or 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A good way to get a heads up on that, if you do want to join us, is to follow us on Twitter at HomeTech Podcast.
And no mailbag this week, but we do have one pick of the week. This one's kind of funny. It just kind of reminded me, like, I don't know if you've seen this, Jason. Like, there's this ad, like this, it kind of floats by, but there's like this ad from Radio Shack. Like, you remember Radio Shack, like back in the 80s and 90s?
Oh, yeah.
You'd have like this ad of like, there's a telephone that you could get for $19.99 and be like in those big letters, $19.99. And then they'd have like next to it some kind of like, I don't know, fax machine. And they'd have all sorts of like incredible piece of technology, a Tandy computer there. And then like everything on this page is now in your cell phone.
Right.
Like,
right.
It all gets reduced to an app on your cell phone. And that popped in my head as I saw this tweet float by this week. It says, in the end, we all become apps. And they have a picture of the first generation Apple TV, the big boy, that got like to 300 degrees when you turned it on. And next to an iPad running the new beta software with the new Apple TV logo on it. And yeah, it looks, the little logo that's right on top of the old Apple TV. The first gen Apple TV's logo is right on top of that app. And man, it's just like everything gets shrunk into an app.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a tweet from Zach Hall, who is the lead editor over there at 9 to 5 Mac. And I thought it was very apropos. We've been talking about that a lot on the show, especially when it comes to streaming TV content. That's really like one of the latest frontiers. I mean, to your point, Seth, like all of it sort of gets condensed down if you go look back at those old Radio Shack ads. But that's really the big one
I'm talking about. I put the one I'm talking about in the Slack chat over there. It's uploading now. So it's like, it's a cell phone, like one of those bag phones, a Tandy computer, a camcorder, some speakers, like a Discman.
Yeah, a tape recorder. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah. That's funny. No, it's very true. Yeah, it's absolutely true. So streaming video is just the latest in that series, and a very appropriate tweet. Also, by the way, mention here while we're talking about Apple, they did open up their beta. So I guess if you're interested in doing a public beta of some of these new Apple features, they do not have Apple TV Plus, which is, of course, the new ad-free streaming service, but they do have a tvOS beta 12.3 that has, as well as iOS 12.3, that has the latest version of the Apple TV app with the channels feature, and some of the new curation features like For You and recommendations based on your watch history. So if you're into tinkering or being out sort of on the bleeding edge of some of these things, they have a beta out that you can go, I guess, publicly download. So go check that out.
If you have any feedback, questions, comments, picks of the week, or great ideas for the show, give us a shout. Our email address is feedback@HomeTech.fm, or visit HomeTech.fm/feedback and fill out the online form.
And as we always do, we want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports our show, but especially to those of you who are able to financially contribute to our efforts through our Patreon page. If you're not familiar, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support. Once again, that's HomeTech.fm/support, where you can learn about how you can support our show for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 will give you a big shout out on air, but every single pledge will get you an invite to our private Slack chat, The Hub, where you and other supporters of the show can gather every day for the inside baseball conversations about all aspects of home technology. Definitely a fun community, so we'd love to have you.
If you want to help out but can't support the show financially, we totally understand. But we appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes or a positive rating in the podcast app of your choice. You know, we're aiming for that 5 stars. We're working for it every week, man. We're hard workers.
It's a labor of love
out there.
It's a labor of love.
Yeah, exactly. It's a labor of love. But that really helps people find the show better than any other way that you can do. Maybe if you have like 1 million Twitter followers, or you're the New York Times and you write an article that's basically what we were talking about in 2014. You could mention us there too, but if you're neither one of those people, and you can support this, you want to help support the show, just throw us a rating there, and it definitely helps visibility somehow.
Yep,
the algorithm takes care of it.
It's all algorithms,
all the way down.
That's it. All right, Seth. Well, that will do it for this week. I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll look forward to reconnecting again for another show next week.
Sounds good, Jason. Thanks for everybody for tuning in tonight. Thanks for everybody for listening live there in the chat room. We appreciate it. And Jason, I'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good. Take care, Seth.